Look at all this loot! DJ, none for you! Welcome back, I am Captain Xavier, and I am a shameless fan of getting free stuff, especially free tactical stuff that fills a gap in my gear, and up until recently, flashlights was actually a gap in my gear. I did not have any good flashlights. Then ThruNite reached out to me and said, hey, you want to review some flashlights? And I said, absolutely I do, and they've been sending me cool flashlights ever since. What we have here is the ThruNite BSS V4 tactical flashlight, and like all the ones they've sent me, it is super cool. Comes with an instruction manual. I do recommend you take a look at it. There are the various instructions on how to do the various modes, which I will go over. Two of the modes were not mentioned in the instructions as far as I could tell, unless I just missed it somewhere. However, luckily the internet provided. So, I will go over the actual functions, but what I think really sets these apart from other flashlights, in addition to being good quality and really bright flashlight and lots of different modes, is the gizmos they send with it. The extra accessories and accoutrements are just fabulous. But let's take a look at the flashlight itself. It is really cool looking. It has grip to make sure it doesn't fall out of your hands. It's got impact things on the front. I'm not actually sure what those are. I know you can set it up and vaguely use it like a lamp. Slightly. But I'm not sure what it's actually meant for. Possibly impact. It is rated for impact up to 1.5 meters, so 4 feet or so, which is a decent plummet. It's also waterproof down to a certain, reasonable depth. It has 2 buttons on it. It's got 1 button up front, which will just turn it on, turn it off. No surprise there. There's a button on the back that you can partially press and it will turn on, but when you let go, it turns back off again. Alternatively, you can push it till it clicks, and then it will stay on in the brightest mode. This automatically goes to their turbo mode, their brightest mode. And at this point, the side button does absolutely nothing. The back button locks the front button, so you can then push that button to then turn it back off. Holding the front button down will enable what's called Firefly Mode, which is a really low setting mode. In fact, it's so low, I didn't realize it was turning on at first and thought that feature wasn't working. It's just really low. At a full charge, that light will go for 56 days, which is ridiculous. If you then hold it down, again, it will cycle through, once it's off, if you hold it down, it'll cycle through the various settings. I've locked it. There is, in fact, a lock mode. I'll go into that. But if you hold down the button, it'll cycle through the 3 modes. It's got low, medium, high, low, medium, high. Whatever you stop at, that is now where this button will automatically go back to. So it remembers what the last setting you set it at was. If I set it to low, now when I turn it on and off, it goes to the low setting. If I reset it for medium, now when I turn it on and off, it will go to the medium setting. If you turn it all the way off, hold down the button, it'll go to Firefly Mode. If you hold it down again, it will lock. And now, none of the buttons do anything. So it won't accidentally turn itself off and leave itself off. You have to then hold the button down again. It'll go back to Firefly Mode, and now it's unlocked. So that's a feature I would have never considered, and that's pretty neat. Like I said, the back button goes straight to Turbo Mode, Max Mode, which I think it is inherently kind of dimming at the moment because I just opened it up and I haven't actually charged the battery. If you double click the front button, it goes to Turbo Mode, which is the brightest setting, which is really kind of ridiculously bright, especially for a flashlight this small. LEDs are magic. And then if you hit the button again, it goes back to its regular mode. Strobe warning, this does have a strobe, so if you're sensitive to such things, look away now. If you triple tap the button, it goes into strobe mode. For distracting your enemies or as a warning or something. Again, single push will turn it back off, and then you go back to your regular mode. So I believe those are all of the various modes that this has. It was the double tap and the triple tap that I didn't see in the instructions, so now you know how that works. It is rechargeable, obviously. It recharges, has a port up top that recharges using micro USB, which is still fairly standard throughout the world, so that is pretty nifty. It does use a IMR, 18650 IMR, the ThruNite 3100 milliamp IMRs, which is pretty snazzy. You can take the battery out and recharge it on a charger if you had one, or you can recharge it via USB. So that's pretty much, I think, all of the main features of the flashlight itself. Let's take a look at the extra gizmos, because that's what I think really sets this apart and just makes it super classy. They do give you a pouch, a belt pouch. Flashlight fits in there very nicely. Easy to get out. Has Velcro flaps so it won't fall out. Has a belt loop and a D-ring, so various options for attaching it to stuff. No MOLLE, unfortunately, but I can live without MOLLE. I can just put it on my belt. If I really, really want it somewhere on my vest, I can get a separate MOLLE one. They're fairly cheap. As popped out here, we do have a clip, a belt clip. It'll also allow you to now clip it onto your vest, your MOLLE vest, because the flashlight is in fact slightly too large to fit in on its own, unlike the headlamp one, but you could just clip it on there using that clip. So it's neat that it has that. I like that it's removable, because you might not want that if you're going to be putting it into your pocket. You might not want it if you're going to be putting it into the pouch, because it'll snag on the elastic there and won't go in all the way, unless you put it in the other way. You know, minor things, but the fact that they made it easily removable and can adjust is just, in my opinion, a neat additional feature. They do give you a lanyard that you can put on there, so you can put it on your wrist and have it not disappear. They do have a little tightening lug on there, so you can actually have it tight around your wrist so it cannot fall off. Again, minor thing, but just the fact that they included that, to me, is just an afterthought that is uncommon in a lot of companies. They didn't have to add that. That cost a little extra money, but it gives you just a little bit more functionality, and I like that. They give you a charging cord, your micro USB cord. It's fairly short, but they give you the cable. You would have to have a brick or a power bank or something to plug it into, but it plugs into just standard USB and then is USB, micro USB there. We do have some replacement parts, and this is another one of those things you're like, that's just cool and classy that they add that. The flashlight has 3 rubber parts. There is the charging port, the back button, and the O-ring for the battery housing. So there are 3 rubber bits, and rubber parts do degrade over time. They dry out, they rot, they will eventually break. When you open the flap over and over and over again, you may eventually accidentally tear it off, or it just, eventually wears out. And so they give you replacements. They give you 2 replacement battery charging port flaps, 2 replacement O-rings, and 1 replacement rear button. So super cool. You can keep those somewhere safe, so when the time comes, you have them. And the final feature, and this was something I was like, wouldn't it be neat if? And when I first saw it, I was like, well, wouldn't it be cool if that was a? And then it turned out it was. And it's a replacement lens. So you take off your nifty metal guard, and you put this cap on there. And you've probably worked it out by now. It's red light filter. It turns it into a red light, which is absolutely awesome, because that's the feature I really lacked in my gear. Because most of the events I go to, anytime there's a night event, they often require you have a filtered light, red light or something else, so it doesn't ruin people's night vision and then they're bouncing off of trees and stuff. So it's really, really cool that they add that it's really easy to just swap the 2 out. That is just, again, a really classy feature that they added. So this flashlight will definitely be becoming a standard part of my gear. I will be putting this with my travel gear so I can find it, and we'll always have a red light filter when I need one. This will definitely get added. I may go ahead and get a MOLLE pouch so I can put it on my vest, and then this one will just go on my battle belt, and I will be set. I have a really nice tactical flashlight. So there is all of the gizmos and features that came with this. The link that you can get it at will, of course, be down in the description. My thanks to ThruNite for sending me this fancy gizmo. And thank you guys for watching. the middle of the day, so I can't demonstrate the how good the light actually is, but I assure you, it is excellent.